Previously on Series Squared. Pratchett, Discworld, Ankh-Morpork, Two-Flower, Rincewind, Bargain, Cowardice, Patrician, Bargain, Misadventures, The Edge, The Edge! And now, the thrilling conclusion. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of Series Squared. Today's treat is one of the few direct sequels found in the Discworld series, the follow-up of The Color of Magic that ended on, let me remind you again, of... falling off the edge, oh shit! Welcome to the Light Fantastic. As always, spoilers abound. Thou haveth been warned. As Rincewind plummets to his slow, cold, and spacey demise, the Octavo, that magic book that holds 7 of the 8 spells that created the Discworld, break out of the magical library of the Unseen University, leaving the university in chaos and its head librarian as an orangutan. Go figure. The current Arch-Chancellor of the university, Wongaldo Weatherwax, and his second-in-command, Impure Trimon, are the only ones capable of keeping up with the rapidly rising spellbook, and so they are the only ones to observe the 7 spells changing the world itself by nudging it a few proverbial inches to the side. Rincewind, having fallen off the Discworld, now has the Discworld to fall on. And while having something to land on is a great reliever to Rincewind's stress, a large glaring red star he sees from the vacuum of space that Greater 2 is heading straight for adds a wee bit more. Once groundbound, our hero quickly meets up with Two-Flower and they huddle up in, against all odds, a gingerbread house. The first few Discworld books were weird. Anywho, the red star mentioned previously starts to become noticed by the denizens of the Disc. No one knows what it means exactly, but the wizards are able to find out one thing. The 8 spells of the Octavo must be spoken in conjunction at Hogswatch Night, a Discworld holiday, we'll get into it one day. And as an added bonus, whoever does so, according to legend, is going to gain unbelievable power. Which is all dandy and good except for one little detail. The 8 spell jumped ship ages ago, and is now residing in Rincewind's brain. And so, the hunt is on. An important thing to note about your average early book Discworld wizard is that they are power-hungry, ruthless, and utterly without mercy. To the promise of power, almost all the wizards head off, rushing for Rincewind. However, the Arch-Chancellor, deftly avoiding murder attempt after murder attempt from Trimon, simply creates a magic arrow that shall fly straight to Rincewind and, after the inevitable fatal impact, the spell will be drawn back into his waiting arms. At the gingerbread house, the wizards attack. Our heroic duo grab a flying broomstick, and the arrow misses its mark. The Arch-Chancellor, feeling something being dragged back by his spell, however, awaits with anticipation. His hopes, and probably most of his vital organs, are crushed by the arrival of the luggage. Whoops. After the subsequent rampage, the luggage heads off to find his master, and Trimon becomes the new acting Arch-Chancellor. Rincewind and Two-Flower land on a cloud that's hiding a druid transporting the latest and greatest in stone circle technology. While unconscious, Rincewind meets the spells of the Octavo in his dreams, who tell him that he has to keep the 8th spell safe until the right time, but must return home and stop the wizards who are planning on using the 7 remaining spells by themselves if the red star does come too close. After some druidic fun, Rincewind and Two-Flower gain 2 additional traveling companions. Bethan, the sacrificial virgin, her big moment of truth interrupted, poor thing, and Kohan the barbarian, the greatest warrior of all time on the Disc. He might not be the youngest whippersnapper, but being in a profession that usually kills you before you reach 30, passing 90 means you got really used to not dying. Hijinks ensue, our heroes passing through troll-riddled mountains, abandoned villages, and the very realm of death, where they meet his daughter, adopted of course, while the red star draws ever closer. After a travel in one of those magic disappearing shops that usually hands out cursed books, gremlins, and some other magical thingamajigs, Two-Flower and Rincewind finally arrive back in Ankh-Morpork, but they are just too late. Trimon, that second-in-command wizard, if you recall, tricked all the other leading wizards and gained the Octavo, wishing to cast the 7 spells and be granted the power promised. The star is near, its heat starting to affect the Disc, the sky turning red, and, as the 7 out of 8 spells take shape on the top of the Tower of Art, the highest point in Unseen University, without the 8th spell to hold it, the very fabric of the world is punctured. And from the darkness should come the things from the dungeon dimensions, cosmic parasites, drawn to the warmth of life like moths to a flame. Yet they do not appear. The other wizards crawl to the top to find Trimon standing victorious over the now powerless tome of the Octavo. Rincewind follows after them, finding all of the wizards turned to stone. Trimon looks at Rincewind, and the reason why no tentacle beasts appeared so far becomes apparent. Trimon's eyes are dark, inhuman and monstrously black. The hole in the fabric of the universe was made in his mind, and now something else resides in his body. Something that wishes to open a true portal and feast upon the dying world before the red star boils it alive. Rincewind, having nowhere else to run and hilariously outgunned on the magic department, does the only thing that rats such as he do when cornered. He leaps onto Trimon and battles to him in hand-to-hand... well, we couldn't really call it combat. Most honestly, slapping. Two middle-aged wizards, after all, aren't exactly made out to do glorious combat. The being inhabiting the body of Trimon, however, is less used to a human shape than Rincewind is, and so, to his surprise, he is finally able to win his first and, quite possibly, only battle he hasn't run away from. After Trimon dies, the 7 spells return to the book, and Rincewind, with a firm word and a thumb, orders the final one out of his head. The star is truly starting to tear the world apart now. It hovers over the disk, small spheres encircling the dreaded thing, greater twin almost grinding to a halt. Rincewind chants the 8 spells, and, as the universe subtly changes, the spheres around the star crack and burst open. Dozens of tiny world turtles with small proto-discs on their shoulders emerge. And Greater Twin, its hardwired parental instincts fulfilled, turns around and heads back into the cool, soothing void of space. Our tale winds down eventually. The Octavo, the most powerful book in the world, is swallowed by the luggage. Rincewind returns to Unseen University to give magic one more good to honest try. Twoflower gives the luggage to Rincewind as a parting gift, and returns back to the Agitian Empire. And so ends The Light Fantastic. This book is great. While The Color of Magic is slightly heavy-handed on its humor, this book finally starts to mix the humor of the Discworld with the slightly more mature tones that the series is excellent for. Rincewind is an interesting character, especially so because he is not a particularly complex one. He is a coward through and through. However, he is the character made by Sir Pratchett, who gets to meet, and subsequently run away from, some of the most interesting characters and events in Discworld canon. As for the secondary characters, Twoflower truly shines in this book, and Cohen, the disc's oldest and greatest hero, deserves a mention of his own. While these first 2 books are merely parodies to the tropes of typical fantasy, they hold a seed of originality and soul that elevates them from mere satire. It's also time to discuss the direct-to-TV adaptations of The Color of Magic and Life Fantastic by Sky One in slightly more detail. The Color of Magic is the second adaptation they made, and let me tell you, it is a stinker. With the exception of a passable patrician, who will later be played by a much more excellent Charles Dance in Going Postal, the 3rd Discworld movie, and an alright Cohen, each character is horrendously miscast. The budget to the movie is misspent, the pacing usually brought to a grinding halt, the plot points and the very soul of the book either misunderstood or just ignored. This movie, in one word... Time for the arbitrary scores. The Life Fantastic is... pretty good. 7 out of 10. Add 1 to it if you enjoy road trippy tales, and another if the concept of a main character that is a coward completely and totally intrigues you. The movie adaptation is, as previously mentioned, bad. The 3 out of 10 from the last episode remains, although this half of the movie is slightly more bearable. Not by much, though. See you next time, folks!